Hello and welcome to Songkla Rajapat University's MOOC course on English for Communication. Today we're looking at Unit 7, talking about a routine, and this is Part 3 where we're looking at vocabulary. First of all, we're going to take a look at numbers. There are two main types of numbers that we need to know in English. These are cardinal numbers and ordinal numbers. Let's start with cardinal numbers. These are the normal numbers we think of, 1, 2, 3. The things we use every day when we count money, look at street or room numbers, give someone your telephone number, or if you're shopping, the weights or measures, how fast you drive, things like that. Ordinal numbers are the other common grouping, and these tell us the order of things. So I always remember ordinal, order. It's first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So these are used for place in a competition. For example, John came first in the race. Or the levels of a building. My new apartment's on the 3rd floor. Could be the layers or levels of anything. We ordered a three-layer cake. The 3rd layer we'll save for next time. The most common use is probably on dates. Today is the 1st, the 2nd, my birthday is on the 9th, and so on. We also use them with fractions. 1/3 of the population, 1/5 of people who come here, and so on. So those two types of numbers are useful to know and worth practicing. Now, I've made an assumption with this video that, like most of my students, you already know numbers and you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, first, second, third. The thing I find people struggle with is when they have to say or read larger numbers. They get a little flustered. So we're going to take a look at a large number you can use to practice saying numbers. Here's an example where we have numbers, a 12-digit number and a little decimal point before some extra numbers. And you can use this to practice saying just about any number you want. In English, we group things into threes. So we don't need so much vocabulary to be able to read these things. They just look scary. But when you start, you'll see how easy it is to read a number like this. The first part, 103, 103. And we just tag on the group that it belongs to, billion. A billion is 1,000 million. So 103 billion. Then our next group of 3, 4, 5, 6, 456 million. There's a 0 at the beginning and 8, 9. So no hundreds, just 89,000. This group are thousands. And then our final group of 3, 171. A decimal point, anything smaller than that is a part of 1, fraction. Point, and when we have numbers after a decimal point, we just read each digit, 182. So altogether you have 103,456,089,171.182. So you can change the actual numbers you have there, but if you remember to just group things into threes, it becomes easy to read things in English. And it's why in writing you'll see numbers get separated by commas after every 3 digits in good writing. It makes them easier to say and read. So that's a little on numbers. Let's take a look at how we use a couple of different phrases. How long, how much, and how many. Now, I'm looking at these specifically related to time. How long is asking about an amount of time. You'd use that for things like, how long have you lived here? How long have you lived in Thailand? How long have you been married? How long has it been since we last went out? One of the things that's a common mistake, we don't use how long time. Okay, so we don't use how long with the word time. How much time? It's pretty much the same as above. How long have you lived here? How much time have you spent living here? The same meaning, but it's a little more awkward to say. So here are some examples of how we'd use time. How much time? How much time do you spend online each day? How much time will it take to fix the printer? How much time do you need to make the MOOC videos? So we're looking for something a little more specific than just a length of time. It's usually shorter. And how many? When we use this, we're looking again just in its use with time here. And we use it with countable nouns for time. Things like days, hours, or years. If you haven't seen your friend for a while, how many years has it been since I last saw you? If you're checking into a hotel, how many days are you planning to stay? So days is a countable noun. How many minutes is the video? How long is the video? So it's a different way to ask how long, how many minutes. So you need that countable noun if you use how many. And that's the difference between how long, how much, and how many. So you can play with using each of those phrases. Now we're going to take a quick look at when we use when and when we use what time. These are also fairly interchangeable. We often use them for the same meaning. When will we meet? What time will we meet? Two things, they have the same meaning, the answer would be the same. Let's meet at 6 o'clock. We'll meet at 6 o'clock. When we use when, we're asking about a period of time. When does your plane get in? Now we could be specific there and say at 6 o'clock, or we could say tomorrow evening. When are you and the kids coming to visit? Around Christmas, next month. When are you going to get married? Never. So we're looking for a general period of time, but you could use something specific. When are you going to get married? Next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. When we use what time, then we're being a little more specific and we want an actual time. So we use it for things like, what time does the movie start? It starts at 8 o'clock. What time is it? Oh, I'll check my watch. It's 2:20. What time do you get up? I get up at 6 o'clock. But you can again use them interchangeably. When do you get up? You can't say, when is it? For what time is it? So there are some slight differences, and you can play with using when and what time and see what works best for you when you're speaking to people in English. The last thing I want to talk about is give you some examples of prepositions of time. Now, prepositions are the words we use to join ideas together and help us to understand. Most people are familiar with prepositions of place, things being on a table, but a lot of the words can also be used for time. So I've highlighted a few examples here in this passage. For 2 years, since 2019, I've worked from 9 to 5. I've always arrived in time for work and finished by 5 o'clock. I used to work till midnight, but now I can relax before going to bed, at weekends, after 12 noon on Saturdays, and during my long summer holiday in July. You can see there the words in blue, for 2 years, meaning for covering an entire period of time. Since we use with a time when something began. Since last Monday. It began last Monday and all the time from then onwards. A word from to. We can use from to for a start and finish. You can also use between and something. Between 9 and 5. My class is from 9 to 5. I arrive in time for work means before I need to be there. I'm in time. On time, I'm there when I need to be. Finished by 5 o'clock. It won't be after 5 o'clock. I used to work until or till. Until, till means up to. So we work until midnight. I used to work and finish at midnight. I can relax before going to bed. Something, a time before the time I go to bed. I go to bed at 10 and before 10 o'clock I'm relaxing. When we talk about days and time periods, we can use at weekends. But if it's a specific day, we use on Saturdays. Much like before, we can use after, a time somewhere later than a particular given moment, after 12 noon. Maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, doesn't matter, it's after 12. During my long summer holidays. That means somewhere in between the two times, during a period. So on Mondays, during Monday, sometime in that day. And in July. So we use in for months. Okay, in July, in March. We use at weekends, at Songkran, at Christmas with holidays. So lots of different prepositions of time. See how you can use those to communicate with people in English. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you find some of that useful and help build up your vocabulary. Goodbye.